Now that we've got the basics of how to use the program down, I want to show you how I would set up a lesson sequence for teaching students. I've tried to teach students how to do this quickly, I've tried to teach them slowly, and I found this system is about the right pace for my 5th or 6th or 7th graders to learn it and keep up and be successful in the long run. So here's how I would set it up. In day 1, you're getting them excited, you're getting them signed in. The first 10 minutes of class, you're going to be introducing it, so you're going to show off the models that you've already made. So let them see that you kind of know what you're doing. Let them see you change the details of one of your models. For example, give a cat a third eye and get them thinking, this is kind of cool. Now, if you start by showing off other people's work, like if you go to thingiverse.com, you may not have the skills to get the kids to that point. So what I would do is I would show off my own work at this point and say, hey, I made this, and I made this, and I can show you how to do it. If you show the kids something really cool and then you have to say, well, I don't really know how to do that, you're in for some trouble. So 10 minutes to introduce it. Now, I'd say 15 minutes having them sign in to TinkerCAD. You'll have some kids trying and failing. Sometimes it will kick them out to the Autodesk login and they just need to go back to TinkerCAD. But what I would say is tell them to avoid the tutorials. So a lot of kids will lose their work if they get started in the tutorials. So just say avoid the tutorials, make your own new design. And while all the other kids are signing in, tell them to play with it, but everything they're going to be working on is going to be deleted. They need to get used to the idea of these things, you bring them in, they only take a second to make, but you can delete them at the same time. Far too many kids pull something in and they get hung up on that very first project. And they need to realize, no, we're going to delete it, we're going to learn how to use this thing. It's a good skill for them to have, just to delete something. So what I would do is I'd have the kids hit Control A once I want to start teaching them, which is select all, and then hit delete. So at this point, give them a tour of the controls and the individual objects, how to pull them in. Make sure to mention the black cone that's above the plane that raises up and down. And then the rest of the work time, just let them play around with it. Let them know there are a lot of controls and tools they do not know, so it'll only get easier from this point on. Now, moving on to day 2, I would be teaching them the work plane. So this is so important that I give it a full day in my class. So when I tried to move faster, I would have a lot of kids who would forget this one point, they'd get frustrated and start giving up. So the first 5 minutes of class, get them signed in, get them started. Then learning the work plane, for example, making a boat. And if you need a reminder, watch that work plane video that I provided earlier in the course. Give them 10 minutes of work time, and so let them start trying to stack things up and adding things. And then give them 5 more minutes of instruction where you add some text to the side. Now's a good time to say every project needs to have their name imprinted in the side, because you'll have a lot of projects that you won't know where they came from. So day 3, introduce how to make holes and grouping things together, and how the color controls work. So pretty self-explanatory there. It would be a good idea to remind them about all the other things like the work plane and the other stuff that you've worked on earlier with them. This would be the first part of day 3. Now the second part of day 3, you'd be showing them the align, flip, and the different generator tools. Once you show them those generators, they should have a lot to do. So again, this is pretty self-explanatory. But if you skimp on the work time, the kids will not be as successful in the end. Day 4, you would review everything that you've gone through and give them more practice. Day 4 is a good time to give them example projects to complete. Day 4 is a good time to show them, here's how I make a rocket, here's how I make a cow, whatever it is you want to make. But you got to give them more practice time before you expect them to do anything pretty cool. Now that's how I would lay out the 4 days of introducing TinkerCAD.